right, what do we got? Super Dave. We got to have another one. We got a bunch of them. Here's one. This was from Dre013 or just D. Dave Meltzer. Dave, when your audience 18 to 49 is dropping faster than your networks for multiple quarters, that's not a good sign. Well, I think that's a reasonable observation based on data that we see in front of us. Now, not sure where that data came from, but let's assume for the sake of conversation, it's credible data. That seemed to be like, I don't know, reasonable observation. Let's get, since Dave is an analyst of the business, let's see what Dave has to say. That chart is for original programming, not all programming. TBS was down 16% and 18 to 49 with 2023. For all programming, TNT did stay even with more high-profile sports events. I maybe that made sense to somebody. I'm not sure. Super Dave, do you get that?
It's written Meltzer style. So
yeah, which means it's hard to fucking understand, but yeah.
So I think our next response to his reaction kind of clarifies what he's trying to say.
All right. Right. So to see the trend, it should be AEW versus other sporting or live events. You can't say AEW is doing better than all programming, knowing that the bulk of his reruns. It's just not an honest comparison. I don't see anything to argue with there. Whoa! Wait a minute! Pump the fucking brakes! Ladies and gentlemen, this is breaking fucking news right here on Wise Choices. According to Dave Meltzer, and I quote, AEW is not sports. It's entertainment. So it should be compared to entertainment. End quote. What in the name of fuck? I'm aghast, taken aback, perplexed. Because it was Dave Meltzer just months ago, perhaps a year ago, before all the panic about AEW not having re-signed a new deal for Dynamite and the other programming, back when everybody was, especially Dave Meltzer, was like the band leader, with the baton and the goofy fucking hat, marching up and down the street, playing the AEW theme song, telling everybody that AEW is going to double, triple their rights because look at what's going on in all of these other sports franchise rights fees. Which is it, David? Are we a sport or are we entertainment? Or are we a sport when you want to paint the picture that your agenda wants you to paint? So now it's a sport when you can compare AEW to sports in a favorable light. But if it gets the least bit uncomfortable, we're not sports. According to Dave, we're entertainment. Again, another example, when I say Dave Meltzer is transparent as a glass of water, this is the type of shit I mean. It's just bizarre to me. And here's what I think Tony and Dave and any of the other talents in AEW who are bemoaning the fact that there's quote unquote tribalism, which is just such a bitch word anyway, but tribalism in wrestling, it started at AEW from the top all the way down and still exists to this day within your programming, guys. You're creating it yourselves and then you whine about it. Maybe because it's the only thing people will talk about when it comes to your program. But it's amazing to me the amount of ink that gets spilled about how AEW is being treated so unfairly. And I think part of the reason is because guys like Dave Meltzer are trying so hard to defend it then it puts a sour taste in everybody's mouth that reads anything Dave writes that's positive about AEW, because everybody understands why he's doing it, and it has nothing to do with his insight or analytic abilities. It has everything to do with emotionally. He's as invested in AEW as Tony Khan and his father are financially, because AEW represents to Dave Meltzer what Dave Meltzer has been screaming for and pounding the pavement for, in terms of what Dave Meltzer thinks the television audience in the United States needs to see in order to grow. In fact, it was Dave Meltzer early on in AEW's evolution, where Dave said it's likely only going to take a couple of years before AEW overtakes the WWE because of its emphasis on the Japanese style of wrestling. I shit you not. And now that I think it's becoming obvious for even guys like Dave and Tony Khan to see, I hope, it ain't working. So Dave he's invested. He's not invested financially. I'm not one of the people that think he was being paid. I never did. But I do think emotionally, this is like Dave's wet dream come true, only it's not the kind of wet dream he was hoping for. This is one that's drowning, right? And I think Dave seeing it go down the way he is probably one of the things that has tilted him. So, because he's been on tilt now for a few months, and just watching his replies and, you know, the number of people that he blocks because he just doesn't like the reaction to him. I mean, I think he's going full tilt. But hey, no, there's probably more of that.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what AdFreeShows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-Free Shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that AdFreeShows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. AdFreeShows.com.